Admiral Kang stood on the command deck of the Imperial flagship Eternal Glory, his gaze fixed on the holographic display of a small blue planet. Earth, the third planet of an unremarkable star system at the edge of the Orion Arm. Intelligence. Reports classified humans as barely spacefaring, with primitive technology and virtually no defensive capabilities. Pathetic, he muttered, studying the orbital patterns of Earth's primitive satellites. The Grand Imperial Coalition had conquered over 400 star systems across 3 galactic arms. Earth would be their 401st conquest, barely worth mentioning in the official records. Yet something about this planet had caught the Emperor's attention. "Admiral, all ships report ready for jump," announced First Officer Han from her station. "The fleet awaits your command." "Admiral," Kang nodded. 300 warships, the largest fleet deployment in Imperial history, seemed excessive for such a minor target. But the Emperor's orders were clear. Earth was to be subjugated completely, with overwhelming force. "Prepare the jump sequence," ordered Kang. "We will arrive at the edge of their solar system in formation." As the massive engines powered up, Kang reviewed the intelligence one final time. Humans had only established a small research base on their moon and deployed simple robotic explorers to nearby planets. Their weapons were chemical-based projectiles and basic nuclear devices. Nothing that could threaten Imperial shields. "Jump. In 30 seconds, called Han. On Earth, in a secret underground facility beneath Seoul, Dr. Park stared intently at her computer screen. Strange energy readings had appeared at the edge of the solar system, patterns that matched none of her established models. "Director Joe," she called out. "I'm detecting unusual quantum fluctuations. Something's coming." Director Joe approached her station, frowning at the data. "Could it be equipment malfunction?" "No, sir," replied Dr. Park firmly. "I've run 3 diagnostic checks. These readings are real." She pointed to a specific pattern on the screen. "Look at this signature. It matches the theoretical model for controlled space-time distortion." Director Joe's expression darkened. "You mean—" "Yes." Dr. Park nodded grimly. "If my calculations are correct, we're detecting the arrival of multiple vessels using faster-than-light technology." The tension in the room thickened as other scientists gathered around her station. "How many?" asked Director Joe quietly. Dr. Park's fingers flew across the keyboard, running calculations. Her face paled. "At least 300 distinct signatures, sir. Massive energy outputs." "Impossible," whispered someone behind her. Director Joe straightened his shoulders. "Contact the Defense Council immediately. Tell them we have a Code Black situation." He turned to Dr. Park. "Is Project Starfall operational?" Dr. Park hesitated. "The core system is functional, but we haven't completed full integration testing. It's still experimental." "How long would it take to bring it online?" 4 hours, maybe 3 if we skip some safety protocols." Director Joe nodded. "Do it. Skip whatever protocols necessary." In space, the Imperial fleet materialized in perfect formation. 300 warships, arranged in a crescent pattern facing Earth. At the center, the massive flagship Eternal Glory dwarfed all others. Admiral Kang smiled coldly as the fleet settled into position. "Begin planetary scan. I want detailed analysis of their defensive capabilities." "Sir," reported Han minutes later, "scans confirm previous intelligence. Minimal orbital defenses, primitive weapons technology. They appear to have detected our arrival but lack any meaningful response capability." Kang nodded. "Prepare the communication channel. Let us inform them of their impending subjugation." Unknown to the Imperial fleet deep beneath Seoul, Dr. Park worked frantically on Project Starfall, a revolutionary defense system she had developed after discovering a peculiar quantum anomaly during routine particle experiments 3 years ago. "Power levels at 70%, she reported. "Quantum field stabilizing." Director Joe watched anxiously as emergency meetings took place globally. World leaders desperately sought a response to the alien threat now visible through even civilian telescopes. "We need more time," he muttered. As if in answer, the communication systems throughout the facility suddenly activated. A cold alien voice spoke in perfect Korean. "People of Earth, I am Admiral Kang of the Grand Imperial Coalition. Your planet is now under our jurisdiction. Surrender all military assets within 6 hours or face complete annihilation." Dr. Park looked up from her work, meeting Director Joe's eyes. 3 more hours, she whispered. "I just need 3 more hours." The alien fleet hung in space like a wall of metal and energy, 300 warships poised at the edge of Earth's solar system. On the main view screen of the Eternal Glory, Admiral Kang watched as his ultimatum was delivered to every communication device on the blue planet below. 6 hours, he told Commander Han, who stood rigidly at attention beside him. "Though I doubt they will need that long to realize resistance is pointless." Han nodded. "Intelligence reports that their global leaders are already gathering in emergency sessions. Their primitive detection systems barely registered our arrival until we chose to reveal ourselves." In the secure underground chamber of the Global Defense Council in Geneva, representatives from every major nation had assembled. Screens displayed the massive alien fleet, causing murmurs of fear to ripple through the room. "They outmatch us in every way," said General Yoon, addressing the silent room. "Their smallest support vessel appears to possess firepower equivalent to our largest nuclear weapons." President Bae of the Asian Coalition rose from her seat. "Have they responded to our attempts at communication?" "No, Madam President," replied General Yoon. "They issued their demand and have maintained silence since." "We have 5 hours and 27 minutes remaining," noted Secretary General Kim. "We must decide, fight or surrender." In the Seoul facility, Dr. Park worked frantically, her fingers flying across multiple terminals as she integrated the final components of Project Starfall. Director Joe coordinated with teams around the world, gathering data on the alien fleet. "Their ships are powered by some form of quantum displacement drive," reported Dr. Park, studying the sensor readings. "Fascinating. They're using controlled micro-singularities as power sources." Director Joe frowned. "Is that relevant to our defense plan?" "Very," replied Dr. Park, excitement breaking through her exhaustion. "Project Starfall works by disrupting quantum field alignments. If their ships depend on stable quantum states for power." Understanding dawned on Director Joe's face. "You mean we could shut them down?" "Possibly," said Dr. Park cautiously. "But we need more precise data on their quantum signature." Director Joe activated his secure communication link to the Defense Council. "We need immediate authorization for an active scan of the alien vessels. Dr. Park has identified a potential vulnerability. In orbit around Earth's moon, a small research station quietly adjusted its sensors, pointing them directly at the nearest alien vessel. As the scan began, Dr. Park monitored the incoming data, her tired eyes widening with each new reading. "This confirms it," she whispered. "Their entire technology is based on quantum field manipulation, exactly what Project Starfall was designed to disrupt." Aboard the Eternal Glory, an alert sounded. Commander Han quickly examined the report. "Admiral, we're detecting an energy scan from one of their lunar installations. It appears to be analyzing our propulsion systems." Admiral Kang smiled coldly. "Interesting. They show more initiative than expected. Target that facility and destroy it. A small demonstration of our power." "Weapons locked," replied Commander Han. Firing. A beam of intense blue energy lanced out from the alien flagship, striking the lunar research station. The explosion was visible from Earth, a bright flash that turned night to day for a brief moment. In the Seoul facility, alarms blared as communication with the lunar station abruptly ceased. Dr. Park frantically checked her terminal, relief washing over her face. "We got it," she exclaimed. "The scan completed seconds before they fired. We have their quantum signature." Director Joe placed a hand on her shoulder. "Can you configure Project Starfall to target their specific frequency?" "Yes," Dr. Park nodded, already typing commands. "But we'll only get one chance. Once they detect our energy buildup, they'll likely target us immediately." In Geneva, the Defense Council watched footage of the lunar station's destruction. Faces pale with shock, they listened as Director Joe's urgent message arrived. We have a possible countermeasure, the Secretary General announced. But we must act quickly. On the Eternal Glory, Admiral Kang observed Earth with growing impatience. They have 4 hours remaining, he noted. Prepare boarding parties for the first wave of occupation. Unaware of the desperate work happening below, the Imperial fleet maintained its position, weapons ready, waiting to claim another world for the Coalition. In Seoul, Dr. Park's fingers trembled slightly as she entered the final sequence. Project Starfall is ready, she announced softly. On your command. Director Joe took a deep breath and looked at the countdown timer. 3:47, 12 remaining. Activate Project Starfall, he ordered. Project Starfall activated with a subtle hum beneath Seoul. Dr. Park watched anxiously as energy levels climbed on her monitor. Unlike conventional weapons, Starfall emitted no visible beam or explosion, just an expanding wave of quantum disruption, invisible to the naked eye, but precisely calibrated to the alien fleet's power signature. Wave propagation at 10%, she reported, voice steady despite her racing heart. 20%, 30? Director Joe stood behind her, hands clasped tightly behind his back. How long until it reaches the fleet? The disruption wave travels faster than light, Dr. Park explained. It should reach them within seconds of full deployment. In space, Admiral Kang reviewed the occupation plans with his commanders. The humans' time was running out, and they had shown no signs of preparing any meaningful defense. Deploy scout ships to their major cities, he ordered. I want detailed... A warning alarm interrupted him. Commander Han frowned at her console. Admiral, sensors are detecting an unusual energy pattern originating from the planet. It appears to be some form of quantum field distortion. Kang dismissed her concern with a wave. Their primitive technology poses no threat to our shields. Continue with... The lights on the bridge flickered suddenly. Then again. Commander Han's console went dark, then reactivated with error messages flashing across the screen. Admiral, she called out, voice tight with alarm. Power fluctuations across all systems. The quantum cores are destabilizing. Throughout the massive Imperial fleet, the same scene repeated. Ship after ship reported critical power failures as their quantum engines, the pride of Imperial technology, began to fail. On the Eternal Glory, Kang gripped the arms of his command chair as emergency lighting bathed the bridge in red. Impossible. Activate auxiliary power. Sir, auxiliary systems are also failing, replied Han, desperately working her console. Whatever they've done targets the fundamental quantum alignment of our technology. In the Seoul facility, Dr. Park watched in amazement as data streamed. It's working! Their power systems are collapsing across the fleet! The room erupted in cheers, but Dr. Park remained focused on her screens. The disruption wave is holding stable. Their quantum fields can't realign while Starfall is active. Director Joe activated the emergency communication link to Geneva. Defense Council, this is Director Joe. Project Starfall has successfully neutralized the alien fleet. They are powerless. In Geneva, stunned silence greeted this announcement before erupting into chaotic celebration. The Secretary General called for order. Director Joe, are you certain? How is this possible? It was a fundamental oversight in their technology, explained Joe. Dr. Park discovered that Imperial technology depends entirely on specific quantum field alignments. Project Starfall generates a counterfield that prevents those alignments from forming. And how long can we maintain this counterfield? Dr. Park answered. Indefinitely, as long as our power grid holds. We're using less than 20% of global energy production. Aboard the Eternal Glory, panic spread as system after system failed. Life support switched to emergency mode, weapons went offline, and communications between ships became impossible. How? Demanded Kang, slamming his fist on the arm of his chair. How could primitives who've barely left their own moon develop technology capable of this? Commander Han studied the readings on her backup terminal. Sir, based on the energy pattern, they're not attacking our ships directly. They're altering the quantum field itself within our vicinity. It's elegant, actually. They've changed the fundamental laws of physics in local space. Can we counter it? Not without completely redesigning our technology, admitted Han. Our entire civilization is built on quantum principles that no longer function in this region of space. Admiral Kang stood slowly, face expressionless as he absorbed the implications. The mightiest fleet in the history of the Coalition, rendered helpless by a species they had dismissed as primitive. In Seoul, Dr. Park finally allowed herself a small smile as the confirmation came in. All 300 Imperial warships were disabled, drifting powerless in space. What happens now? Asked a junior scientist. Director Joe looked at the screen showing the once mighty fleet, now dark shapes against the stars. Now we prepare to make first contact, on our terms. In the quiet shadows of a forgotten battlefield, a peculiar story unfolded that would become legend among soldiers who never fired a single shot. The year was 1914, and two armies stood facing each other across a misty European landscape, tension crackling like electricity between them. Private Thomas Walker remembered the strange morning when everything changed. The British and German troops were positioned mere yards apart, their weapons loaded, fingers hovering near triggers. Frost covered the ground and a heavy silence hung in the air. Soldiers from both sides had been preparing for weeks, expecting a brutal confrontation that would surely cost hundreds of lives. But something unexpected happened. As dawn broke, a German soldier began singing a Christmas carol. His voice, clear and soft, carried across the frozen ground. To everyone's surprise, a British soldier joined in, matching the melody. Soon, voices from both sides merged into a single, haunting song. Slowly, heads began to peek over trenches. Cautious smiles replaced hard stares. Someone kicked a soccer ball into the open ground between the trenches, and an impromptu game began. Germans and British, moments ago prepared to kill each other, now laughed and played together. Officers watched in disbelief. Their carefully planned battle was dissolving into something utterly unexpected. Soldiers shared cigarettes, traded small gifts, and talked about their families. They discovered they were not so different after all. Young men pulled into a conflict they barely understood. For hours, the unofficial truce continued. Men who were supposed to be enemies treated each other like long-lost friends. They helped each other bury fallen comrades, shared food, and even took photographs together, moments of humanity breaking through the walls of war. As evening approached, reality slowly crept back. Military discipline reasserted itself, and the soldiers reluctantly returned to their positions. But something had fundamentally changed. The raw hatred required to kill had been stripped away, replaced by a shared understanding of human vulnerability. This extraordinary day became known as the Christmas Truce of 1914. It was a moment when ordinary soldiers rejected the grand narratives of nationalism and conflict, choosing instead to recognize their common humanity. No official orders created this peace. It emerged spontaneously from the hearts of men who saw each other not as enemies, but as fellow humans caught in a tragic circumstance. Years later, veterans would recall this day with a mixture of wonder and sadness. It represented a brief magical moment when war's madness was paused and compassion ruled. A testament to the simple truth that beneath uniforms and national flags, people share more similarities than differences. The battlefield that was supposed to be soaked in blood became instead a canvas of unexpected friendship. Soldiers who were trained to kill each other played soccer, sang songs, and shared Christmas cheer. It was a small miracle in the midst of one of history's most brutal conflicts. Thomas Walker would spend the rest of his life telling this story, a reminder that even in humanity's darkest moments, kindness and empathy can break through. The Christmas truce was not just a pause in fighting. It was a powerful statement about human potential for understanding and peace. As winter winds swept across the quiet battlefield, the memory of that day remained. A fragile, beautiful moment when soldiers chose connection over conflict, humanity over hatred. A battle that wasn't a battle at all, but a celebration of our shared human spirit. In the vast darkness of space, a massive shift was about to change everything humans knew about their place in the universe. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the starship horizon, her eyes fixed on the massive holographic display, showing strange signals from deep space. The year was 2157, and humanity had been exploring the galaxy for decades. But nothing could have prepared them for what was about to happen. Strange energy patterns had been detected near the edge of the solar system, patterns that didn't match any known technology. Elena's team included Dr. Marcus Chen, a brilliant physicist who had dedicated his entire career to understanding cosmic mysteries. When the first transmission came through, his hands were shaking. The signal was complex, mathematical, and unmistakably intelligent. It wasn't from humans. It wasn't from anything they had ever encountered before. The alien communication was precise and calm. They called themselves the Nexus, a collective of advanced civilizations that had been watching Earth for centuries. They weren't interested in war or conquest. Instead, they wanted to offer humanity a chance to join a larger galactic community. Governments around the world scrambled to understand this unexpected contact. Some were terrified, others excited. Military leaders prepared defensive strategies while scientists like Marcus worked to decode the complex messages. The Nexus explained that Earth had been in a kind of quarantine, observed but not directly contacted. Humanity was considered a young species, still struggling with basic planetary cooperation. Now they were being offered a choice: evolve and join the galactic network, or remain isolated. Their technology was beyond human imagination. They could manipulate energy in ways that seemed like magic. Communication networks spanned entire star systems. Their understanding of physics made human scientific achievements look like primitive drawings. Elena watched as the first official meeting was prepared. Representatives from every continent would meet the Nexus representatives, not on Earth, but on a neutral space station designed for interspecies communication. The weight of human history rested on this moment. Dr. Chen discovered something even more fascinating. The Nexus wasn't a single species, but a collective of different civilizations that had learned to work together. They had overcome wars, environmental challenges, and technological barriers by creating a system of mutual understanding. Their offer to humanity was simple: share knowledge, commit to peaceful development, and learn to see beyond planetary boundaries. They promised technological advances that could solve climate change, eliminate diseases, and create unlimited clean energy. But there was a catch. Joining meant following strict galactic protocols. No more wars between human nations. No more environmental destruction. Complete transparency in scientific and economic developments. Humanity would need to grow up quickly. Some humans were skeptical. Military leaders saw it as a potential threat. Religious groups debated the theological implications. Ordinary people around the world watched news broadcasts trying to understand what this meant for their future. Elena understood something profound. This wasn't just a technological moment. It was a cultural transformation. Humanity would either unite and embrace this opportunity or fracture under the pressure of the unknown. The first official transmission showed holographic images of advanced civilizations, technologies that seemed like dreams, and a vision of cooperation that was both beautiful and challenging. Humans would need to reimagine everything they knew about their place in the universe. As the horizon prepared for its historic journey, Elena looked at her diverse crew: scientists, engineers, diplomats, all representing the best of human potential. They were about to step into a new chapter of human existence, one that would be remembered forever. The galaxy was waiting. Humanity's next great adventure was beginning. No one knew exactly what would happen, but one thing was certain: nothing would ever be the same again. In the cold, silent expanse of space, a new door was opening, and humanity was about to step through, ready or not.